Everybody, rock your body right. Da-da-da-da-da. Animaniacs are back. All right. Hello, YouTube. MK here, your friendly neighborhood silhouette emerging from the shadows for a little while. And this is my first attempt at a video essay. I'll be honest, I'm losing my inspiration for AMVs, so I want to try something new to keep this channel alive. I have a lot to talk about, so I hope you guys like these new types of videos. Anyway, on to today's topic. If you're veteran subscribers, then you know I love Animaniacs. It's a cartoon made in 1993 about Yakko, Wacko, and Dot Warner. 3 cartoon children who were locked away in the Warner Brothers water tower for being too zany and eventually escaped in the year of the show's debut. Joining them are Pinky and the Brain, 2 mice hellbent on world domination, retired cartoon star Slappy Squirrel and her nephew Skippy, the Good Feathers, Bobby Squid and Pesto of the Pigeon Mafia or something, and many others. There's so much to love about this show, from the fast-paced razor-sharp humor and lovable characters to the beautiful animation and catchy songs. This show changed my life. Not only did it inspire me to get into art and help me realize my dream to become an animator, but it also changed the way I look at animation. It helped me tap into my critical side, being able to put into words why I love or hate things so much. On November 20th of 2020, Animaniacs officially returned as a reboot. Now, there was a lot to be excited about, like the original voice actors returning and the more expressive animation, but also a lot to be scared for, like no characters aside from the Warners, Pinky, Brain, Dr. Scratch and Sniff, and Ralph T. Guard returning. But I had high hopes. The Animaniacs Twitter had a live stream the night before they debuted on Hulu to premiere the first episode, and I was taken back to 2015 as the countdown started. Would this reboot be the next DuckTales 2017? I hope so, but I had no way of being completely sure. All I knew was this.
Tomorrow night, our lives will change. Tomorrow night, we'll be entertained.
Finally, the premiere began. And it was good. Mostly. After watching the other 12 episodes, I can say it's not perfect. We will be talking about the good, the bad, and the in-betweens. Mild spoilers ahead, beware! And if you want to watch the TLDR, skip here. There is a lot to love about Animaniacs 2020. Let's start with the animation. So, it's no secret that the animation is still fluid and bouncy and lively. Overall, the visuals look pretty nice. Easy on the eyes, able to capture the crazier parts, and just plain fun. The one advantage it has over the original is that it can be more expressive at times. Look at this shot from the theme songs, for example. But the absolute highlight is the new Pinky and the Brain intro. They didn't have to do much, but they went hard. It's like pink elephants on parade, but even more magnificent. I can't take my eyes away whenever I watch it. Now let's head into the meat of the show. You see, the Warners are the most important elements. They're the poster children, and did they get them right? Well, yes! Their characters are still intact after all these years. Yakko still got razor-sharp wit, fast-paced yakking, and the voice of an angel. Wacko's still, well, wacky and somewhat innocent. And Dot is still the pinnacle of looks like a cinnamon roll but can actually kill you. I will admit though, Dot has one extra touch to her character here, and yeah, it's my biggest worry of the show. She now has a girl power side to her. It's not prominent in too many episodes. If I had to estimate, it's prominent in around 5 of 13 episodes. Which honestly isn't that bad, but 3 out of 5 are almost back to back, specifically episodes 10, 12, and 13. So when she keeps hammering in girls' rights, she ends up reminding me of Britta Perry from Community, which is not a good sign. If Dot's female empowerment side keeps popping up, it could do massive damage to the rest of Animaniacs 2020's run. Don't get me wrong, I love Dot snatching wigs with her sass. But bringing gender into it makes her dangerously close to becoming a man-hating social justice warrior. Especially when she has lines like this.
If it's a he, I'm busy. Never mansplaining. I don't need a mansplaining song about manspreading. Now woman up. That's why the right man for the job is always a woman.
I refused to give Santa a Christmas list because I didn't want to depend on any man for anything.
Animaniacs staff, if you're watching this, Please don't Britta Dot. The last thing we need is a Warner sibling to become the type of person they make fun of. I'm begging you, don't Britta Dot Warner. She also straight up steals 2 of Yakko's gimmicks in 1 episode, but that's a one-time thing, so hopefully it remains that way. As for the Warners' skits, they're generally well done. I've gotten at least 1 chuckle from every skit, and there's a lot of highlights when it comes to them. That's one of the things that I love about Animaniacs 2020 the most. Its highs are really high, as in on par with the original. The top examples I can think of are in 4 skits: Ralph Cam, Who Donut, Here Comes Trouble, and That's Not the Issue. An honorable mention goes to Equal Time simply because Yakko being a news anchor is just great. Ralph Cam is an almost completely silent found footage reel of Ralph sleeping in his office while the Warners fight a vampire in the background. It's so entertaining to watch their slapstick work in this format. And the absolute silence is great because I could hear my own laughter. It made me realize just how much the episode made me laugh. Next, Who Donut is an episode where Wacko's gourmet donuts are stolen and Yakko and Dot need to help him find the culprit. There's a lot of comedy gold moments here, like them interrogating the female CEO and the donut shopkeeper, Yakko changing Wacko's voice via the TV remote, and my absolute favorite, Yakko and Dot turning into Sans and Papyrus Undertale for a hot minute. Hysterical! Then, Here Comes Trouble is a bit like the scoring session from the original show, except here, the conductor actually renders the Warners powerless in the first act. And when the Warners regain the ability to fight back not long after, they give him hell. It's glorious! And finally, That's Not the Issue centers around the Warners getting on a talk show and tormenting Tuck Bucketson, a Tucker Carlson XP. This is probably my favorite episode of the season, not just because the dialogue is snappy as ever, but you can also see each Warner's individuality. You see, they're stuck in one place for almost the entirety of the skit. But when you watch the way each Warner moves and makes faces, it's honestly beautiful. As much as I like the sibling hive mind or all 3 being in perfect sync with their movements, this is definitely something I could watch for days. Other great skits are Bloop, where the Warners make fun of Vine essentially cashing in on low attention spans and making a shit-posting app. Gold Meddlers, which was almost a top 5 episode had Dot and Wacko decided not to steal or discredit Yakko's bits, although perhaps it's just karma for Yakko stealing Wacko's shtick by swallowing the tablet in episode 1. Fear and Laughter in Burbank, where the Warners torment a Pennywise XP and Yakko almost dies. Hindenburg Cola, where the Warners try to get their hands on a special can of soda to cure a sick Dr. Scratch and Sniff. And Good Warner Hunting, which starts as a hilarious Bugs and Elmer type routine, but then spirals into a completely and utterly traumatizing experience. I mean, it's still top 10 material, but that's Coraline levels of messed up. Also, let's take a moment to remember the fallen horse Farfig Newton. She will always be Pinky's best girlfriend. Now that we've covered the Warners, what about Pinky and the Brain? Are they still good? Yes, still good. They haven't changed whatsoever, and their skits are pretty great. Definite highlights are Of Mice and Memes, where Brain tries to hypnotize the population with animal videos, and No Brainer, where Brain is on a mission to remember what his original plan was after forgetting it, and screws himself over in the funniest way possible. And in episode 13, we get major backstory for Pinky and the Brain, most notably why Brain wants to take over the world. It's pretty much what I expected, but Brain's side of the story is portrayed as extra feelsy. Poor little guy. There's also 2 interesting things I would like to point out. 1, they're kind of stealing Chicken Boo's stick in a few of the episodes. Like, people are starting to see through Brain's disguise and trying to prove that he's actually a laboratory mouse. It's strange because usually in the original, whenever he'd point out that he really was a laboratory mouse trying to take over the world, nobody made that big of a deal out of it. But I kind of like how they're doing it here. They only do it twice, so it's not that big of a deal. They also tend to have the more, full-on parody skits compared to how the Warners used to have them back in the original. It's fine, but I wish there could be more, you know, all-star crossovers with parody skits. Maybe they'll fulfill my wish in season 2. Only time will tell. There's one last list of characters we must discuss. The new guys. Honestly, there's not a lot of them. There's Edwin, a character that appears in a few Pinky and the Brain skits but is taken out within the first minute in a funny way. Nils Neidhart, who's basically Gaston on steroids and makes for a good adversary against the Warners, though if Hello Nurse was taken away to prevent over-sexualization, Nils should not exist by that logic.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
The female CEO, who has the same no-nonsense attitude as Plots but also impeccable timing, allowing her to bounce off the Warners quite well.
A female CEO? Any interest in mentoring a young future CEO?
No, I'm a firm believer in pulling up the ladder behind me.
Julia Brain, a female mouse genetically altered by Brain to be the perfect first lady. And the incredible gnome in People's Mouths, who speaks for the defenseless and saves them from disaster. I could see him and the Things That Go Bump in the Night skits become funny reoccurring sketches, but as long as they're used sparingly. Starbucks and Cindy are the only ones that I'm not quite into. It's like a reverse Buttons and Mindy scenario where a small alien tries to escape from a little girl. The small alien is also essentially Brain, but without the ability to speak. They're the weakest link among the new characters, but thankfully the others have potential. Especially with female CEO being rather funny whenever she's on screen, and Julia Brain being set up as Brain's new nemesis. It makes me wish that we got 26 episodes instead of 13. That way we'd get a chance to see these characters more often. Now that we've talked about the highs, we must unfortunately discuss the lows. There's a bit of gross-out humor here and there, and now that's the only one who can overtly flirt with the enemies, which is sad because the Hello Nurse routine led to some of the funniest lines in the original.
I don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
For a nickel, I'll give you a clue. How do you do? That thing with your mouth. Hello, nurses. Say, why don't you stop by the water tower and I'll show you my stamp collection.
But Diaco, you don't have a stamp collection.
All right, then, you can open my mail.
Hurry, Your Majesty. These are desperate times. You must meet the cabinet.
Hello, I'm Yakko. Nice to meet you. Oh, the pleasure's all mine.
Sire?
Wait till we're alone.
There's only 3 episodes I truly disliked, but Animaniacs 2020 is usually average at worst. The average stuff tends to amount to the plot is onto something good and has potential, but doesn't quite grasp it. A big example is, unfortunately, the anime fight. There could have been a grand, epic-scale battle between the 3 anime Warners and the evil bunny man, Dwayne LaPistol. Think the battle between the tower robot and the giant bug in Super Strong Warner siblings, but with so much more action. But he easily defeats them. Why? Why did they squander it like this? You didn't even let Dot use her weapon! If they just had the rest of the episode with the anime Warners fighting and actually winning, that would have been amazing. We would have gotten to see them really use their anime powers instead of them doing only one fight move before Dwayne and his army of bunnies one-punch them into defeat. I noticed Yakko and Dot referenced Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon respectively, but they could have sprinkled in a couple more quick references to stuff like Pokémon and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, whether it be visuals, quotes, or even background music. Could you imagine the fight being choreographed to a sound-alike of the Attack on Titan theme? Or Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire's Wild Battle theme? That could have been really cool. One of the Warners also could have used the Uno reverse card against their foe and quoted, "お前はもう死んでいる." NANI? In the same episode, Yakko starts singing a song about Giuseppe Arcimboldo, but gets interrupted within a couple of seconds.
In 16th century Italy.
The song sounded like it could have been one of the best of the reboot, but they never come back to it. How dare you stop Yakko, the Warner with an angelic voice, from singing?
Thomas had never seen such bullshit before.
There's also a minor thing in the episode Gift Wrapper. Yakko didn't quite get to shine as much as he should have. In the Shakespeare verse, he loses the rhythm.
My boy Bill told us pride cometh before the fall.
But I'd love to see Yakko rap again and for a longer amount of time. If he gets into another rap battle, he should absolutely destroy his opponent. Eminem's Rap God style.
You assuming I'm a human, what I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber so that anything you say is ricocheting off of me and it'll...
Another quick problem I noticed that I'd like to point out is that despite the Warners being zany kids, they don't start the chaos. This isn't too big of an issue because they've had bad crazy people to deal with before, like Baloney, Mr. Director, Prunella, and the opera singer. But if they never cause the chaos, this could also be detrimental to the reboot. There needs to be a good balance between those, or else they'll become the straight men, and that's no bueno. On a related note, the songs are a bit disappointing. Not a lot of these hit the sweet spots that most of the originals did. But before I go on, I need to talk about the new theme song first. They changed a few verses because, you know, everyone is gone aside from the main five, Ralph, and Dr. Scratch and Sniff. These changes surprisingly start at Dot's new line. Dot is cute is changed to Dot has wit, which doesn't make sense. Wit isn't exclusive to her. It's prominent in both of her brothers, especially Yakko, so although this likely isn't what they intended, it's essentially saying she's nothing special in comparison. They should have either kept the original line, or if they had to change the line with no choice in the matter, they should have gone with Dot is fierce. It expand on Dot's shtick because she's not the one-dimensional cute one. She's cute and she knows it, but set off her explosive temper and she can and will destroy you. Using the line Dot is fierce would have kept that in line. She smiles cutely at first as you expect to hear Dot is cute, but then she suddenly makes one of her rage faces as the new line comes in. Now that would have been fantastic! But Dot's line is not the only thing that changed. The two really good replacement lines are our careers have made comebacks to replace while Bill Clinton plays the sax, and the trolls will say we're so passé but we did meta first to replace the writer's flip we had no script why bother to rehearse. Don't get me wrong, for that second one, I prefer the original line over what we got, but I love the callback to the please, please, please get a life foundation. Replacing good feathers flock together, Slappy whacks them with her purse is a brand new cat who tested well in focus group research. Not bad. But there's somewhat wasted opportunity in gender balanced, pronoun neutral, and ethically diverse to replace Buttons chases Mindy while Rita sings a verse. The visuals don't know whether to make fun of the line or take it seriously, and they could have put something funnier too. Maybe something like, twice the laughs and way more jabs, at new times we are immersed. Something that sounds like it isn't asking for, to put it lightly, woke points. Also, is it me, or do the variable verses sound a little off-key?
This must be crazy.
Illegal and Bahraini.
Authority disdainy. Critically acclaiming.
Okay, back to general songs. The only ones I come back to, or should I say those that come anywhere close to the original, are Catch Up, Reboot It, Suffragette City, the second half of Gift Wrapper, and To Be Like Me. These five have some of the best lyrics and the best beats by far. I mean, listen to these!
We have chips in our brains, we no longer feel pain. There are worsening climate disasters. Now we live underground and we can't make a sound lest we anger our polar bear master. Just relax and take the flak. If people want it, bring it back.
Every day we're smashed and whacked.
Every day we're smashed and whacked.
It's time to take our anvils back.
It's time to take our anvils back.
We can't be axed. Like Lazarus, we just keep coming back. We don't need to boast or roast or talk smack. To be like me, well, buddy, here's the key. Use the pen and not the sword when you're in a fight. You can write a clever rhyme, turn your foes into a mime, and then sign off by wishing everyone good night.
Bonus points to Suffragette City for reminding me of the South Park movie song, What Would Brian Boitano Do?
So what would Brian Boitano do if he were here today? I'm sure he'd kick an ass or two. That's what Brian Boitano do.
Although I feel parts of the song don't sound as good when Dot sings at a lower octave.
We besieged of legislatures to secure our zany stature, squirrely tail entwined with Tweety Wing. Hear our voices as we sing.
Also, Suffragette City is where Dot's new female empowerment character trait should have ended. This was better as a one-time thing, not a running gag. I'm sorry, I already pointed out how turning Dot into a Britta Perry-esque social justice warrior will bring massive damage to the reboot, but again, oh awesome Animaniacs staff, please don't shoot yourself in the foot here. Overall, Animaniacs 2020 is a very mixed bag. 1/3 of it is awesome, 1/3 of it is abysmal, and 1/3 of it is a wasteland of missed opportunities. It had potential to be completely on par with the original thanks to its highest highs, but its lowest lows stick out like a sore thumb and worsen the overall quality with every passing day. I'm incredibly disappointed it had to be this way. Maybe I'm asking for too much and need to go to the please 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 get a life foundation, but Animaniacs delivered consistently amazing content since the very beginning. This show deserves a revival that could reach the same level of greatness if not surpass it, just like what DuckTales 2017 did. That's why I'm so hard on Animaniacs 2020. I know it could be better, yet it isn't. In a time where we need Animaniacs the most, this is not the revival we needed. It's not fair that Pinky and the Brain's content was consistently strong while the Warners received the short end of the stick. I'm just gonna say it. I'd prefer no reboot at all over a reboot that tarnishes the legacy of Yakko, Wacko, and Princess Angelina Contessa Luisa Francesca Banana Fana Bobeska III. My favorite Chaos Bringers deserved so much better than this.
Look how they massacred my boy.
I also have a lingering feeling the reboot would have actually reached DuckTales 2017 levels of greatness if Tom Ruegger was brought back as a creative consultant. Mainly because I think he would have been able to keep the problems in check and therefore stop them from resulting in, well, the mess among the few gold nuggets we got. Despite me not being as happy as I want to be with Animaniacs 2020, I look forward to the rest of the reboot. If the team really is putting in the effort, it can only go uphill from here. As long as they steer away from the lows and focus on what makes the original, or heck, what makes their own highs so strong. I give Animaniacs 2020 a hard 5 out of 10. If it wasn't for the 1/3 of genuinely great content, this devoted fan would have felt numb. I don't settle for mediocrity, and neither should the new staff. And if any staff members are watching this right now, I want you to know I believe in you. Please don't let your fans down. Well, that's all for today. Like, comment, and subscribe, and you bet I'm gonna review Season 2 when it comes out next year. But for now, it's time that I retreat back into the shadows. Good night, everybody!